Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Deutz Fahrm. And as you can see, we have bales where they should be. I have actually managed to remove those bales from around here with the cows. I'll kind of run you through how I did it. You'll notice these big flat patches here where the grass has gone. You also see these ghosted tyre tracks through the air. What I did was I used the ramps, the placeable mod ramps that we have. So if I scroll through, where are they? Where are they? These, the €1,500 ramps by Art Mechanic. I took the last of my loan money out, which is why I've got 64.5 grand, because I wasn't sure how much things were going to cost, and I was looking at leasing various different bits of equipment to maybe get them out, and luckily I managed to do it with these really cheap ramps. So I placed one either side of the field, which is why we have that patch there that's just had all the fruits taken away from them. There's nothing I can do to kind of repair this grass other than kind of going in and reploughing it and then seeding it again, and it's just I then have to plant another ramp to get back out again, and it would just destroy everything that I've just done. So it's just going to have to be like that. I mean, these dirt trails, these will disappear. So I'm not worried about having those just hovering around in midair. But that's basically how I got the bales out. You know, I placed a ramp down here and a ramp on the other side, but there was a bit of a disparity in height, so I then had to place another ramp here at an angle to bisect into that ramp there, so I could actually get over the fence onto the other ramp and back down again the other side. And then it was nice and easy, just drove the bale trailer in, just automatically scooped up all the bales, even the one that was sort of halfway up the wall here just automatically got picked up by the bale trailer. Picked up all 5 of them over the ramp and then up into storage and dropped them off just there. So, bale crisis is done. We will never speak of the bale incident again. But what I have done is looked at my animals, and as you can see, apart from the cows being incredibly messy, and our pigs for that matter, we are almost out of hay and silage. So we are going to have to do some mowing to get some food for our cows. First things first, though, we're going to jump into the Deutz Fahrm, sorry, into the Fortis, and we are going to just clean up after our animals because they are very messy. Luckily, we have all the relevant tools that we need. Oh, and one other thing I was going to do before I pay off that money is I'm going to buy one of these pressure washers. I'm going to plonk it just here, right on the edge. A bit more. There we go. Perfect. So now we have a pressure washer just kind of hiding in the weeds there on that corner, so we can clean our equipment off as and when we need to. I'm not going to be super anal about cleaning the equipment, so a little bit of mud like this I'm not too worried about. When they get absolutely filthy, yes, we'll give them a clean. I think if they look too clean, it just kind of looks a little bit wrong. You know, you're never going to have pristine equipment, you know, on a farm. So not unless it's brand new and straight out the box kind of thing. So let's get in and clean after our animals. We'll start with the pigs first of all, seeing as we're here. Let's just scoop up this little bit of food waste. I can't actually tell the angle of my bucket, but we are picking up. I can't see where the edge of the bucket is either, so that's not so good. Alright, so that should be gone from the floor. It is. Excellent. That's the pigs taken care of. Now we'll do the cows. So the cow mess is going to spawn in here. Now, I'm not 100% certain whether or not I can actually tip in any food here as well. I know the straw gets tipped in here, but I'm so used to, you know, tipping in, you know, the mess at a food trough like here, you know, in this sort of area, and I'm not 100% certain if this is actually a food trough or not. It may be that the traditional grass trough is going to be our food trough for everything. I guess we'll find that out in a moment. And I'm not picking up at all. Bucket's at the wrong angle, no wonder. There we go, that's better. See what I'm doing now. That's the hardest thing I've found, is when you're using a front loader in first person, is you can't see the angle of the tool more often than not, so you can't tell if it's at the right height or if you're pointing, you know, into the ground or not. It makes it very difficult when it comes to using things like a bucket, just to make sure that you are actually scooping everything up. It's so tight in here, you just can't get a good camera angle without getting a wall in the way. It's the downside to a really packed map like this, is that you just can't see everything. Oh no, look, we can just feed it straight back in there. So I don't know if we can actually dump normal food in there as well. I would imagine we can. Curious. We'll have to try that out when we actually make some TMR. But yeah, we can just... so we could basically just run a Lely Juno in there running back and forth, and that would, you know, just pick it up and drop it straight back into this area, and that would be absolutely fine. I don't think we'll do that though, not on this map. I want to kind of not run a Juno at all on this map if I can get away with it, and just rely on a front loader and a bucket. So let's get our bucket back on the shelf. There we go. Straighten up the arms. Make sure these are positioned far enough to the side so that I can actually get the mower out without knocking them. And now we'll swap our tractors. And we'll get the little aggro star. And I do like this as a little sort of bay for our vehicles, for our tractors. This little awning area here. Right, so we have plenty of areas where we can get grass. Yeah, there's so much grass on this map, but we actually have plenty of little grass fields dotted all over this map as well, that are already in our possession. So the easiest way for me to show you that, first of all, let's just show off. There we go. We have the Deutz Fahrm mower. Look, beautiful. Easiest way for me to show you this is going to be if I do a whistle stop tour using a placeable. So we have this area here. You can see this actually counts as a field. You can see the dirt underneath. So this area sort of between our paths here, this is all grass that we could actually fertilise if we wanted to. Hell, we could even plant crops on this area if we wanted to. And you can see it's quite a big sort of pasture of grass that we could work there. And then again on the other side, we've got all of this around here. We whiz up here. And around the back side of the trees, all of this area here, coming through to there as well. It's all one single connected paddock with a little sort of gateway in the middle there. So plenty of grass there as well. And then obviously, you know, on the other side of the path we have this field here as well. You can see again the dirt outline underneath, that brown colour, and it kind of comes down here a little bit. If I spin around, it comes around here like this down to the sort of the bottom of this field, and then goes back up there and then along just there and then sort of around like that. So there's that field as well. And then over here we've got this big grass field next to our field here where we've got all that straw. Yeah, we've got this grass field over here, and then, you know, there's more grass over here. Look, you see this, we can actually turn this into a field. And once we were to, you know, buy these two fields, for example, we could even plough, because there's no weeds. And we've got a little bit of weedage sort of here, as you can see, but there's no weeds separating these two fields or these fields here. So all of that could be turned into one big field if we want to, and I really kind of like the idea of doing that. So that's something for the future, is to have a really nice sized field sort of up here, you know, with this good sized field here combined with this one and this one. And you know, we can't really do much about joining these two. A, we need the path, and B, we've got all those weeds on either side there. But one thing else I've been thinking about as well is that up here, and chopping down these trees, because spin around again, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trees in here. I think if we were to cut these trees down, grind them up, get some wood chips and stuff, I think we could then turn this area into a nice little orchard. I was looking through the placeables, and it reminded me about the fruit trees. Obviously, I'm using these on American Midwest, but I think an apple tree orchard, or maybe an orange tree orchard, I think probably apple trees, would go really nicely in that little spot. So you've got that little sort of building there. We could even maybe store manure up there, and then even a water tanker. You know, there's all sorts of scope for what we could do, and I like the idea of turning that into a nice little orchard. Get some trees in there that we have to work to earn some money. So where are we going to do our mowing? Well, let's not go too far from the farm. But having said that, I do want somewhere big enough for us to really ted. So our Condé Master, you know, does use up quite a bit of space. So I'm thinking we're going to do this field up here by the sheep. I'm not necessarily going to do all of it. But this is a good sized field, I think, for us to get some grass on. So I'm trying to see exactly where the borders of the field are. Make sure I'm sort of heading in a straight line. I think this is it. So the light is fading, which makes it a little bit trickier. Let's lower and unfold the mower. It's not the widest of mowers. I mean, it's under 3 meters. This, I think it's about 2.7 meters in width, maybe a little bit less. So it's not as wide as a Pottinger mower. It's not as wide as a Lely mower, but it is a decent sized mower. And obviously it's Deutz themed. You know, it has the right branding, it has the right colour. You know, it matches the colour of this Agro Star perfectly. So it's an ideal little mod. You know, I remember when these came out, and there was that pack of 3. The other 2 were red mowers, and I forget the name of the brand. I mean, we can have a look. Let's do that actually. Let's take a look and just point them out, because it's a pack of 3. So that was it. PZ Greenland and Vicon. So these are all identical mowers, just with different branding. But yeah, there we go. 2.7 meters as opposed to either 3.2 or 3.1. So a little bit smaller, but you know, it's perfect for this farm. It really is. Absolutely perfect. So let's try and go in a straight line if I can. And the easiest way for me to judge that would be to watch the grass trail behind the tractor. See if that moves around a bit. Seems to be a pretty straight line. It's not too bad. There we go, that's the edge of the field there. So if I raise, I'm just kind of marking out my working area. Like that, so that I know where my limits are. I'm going to do a second headland just here. give me, again, a bit more advanced warning of when I need to stop. And now, should be able to just drive up and down the field quite nicely. Get some grass mowed, and then we can ted this and turn it into hay, and then we can give some to our cows because they are almost out. And again, I'm just going to do a second headland of grass here, just to make it a little bit easier in cab to see where my stopping point is. Or at least that's the plan anyway. Really nice little mower this, I do like this mower. Very rarely ever used it because I've always been about efficiency, so I've always been about getting, you know, the best equipment for the job, and invariably that means, you know, linking up the front and rear mowers from the Pottinger set and running those as a pair, or you know, pairing a Lely front mower with a Kuhn rear mower, or running the, you know, the Lely front and back mowers, you know, because they're wider, you know, so it takes you less time to do a field. Plus, you know, it kind of looks weird when you mix and match mowers. You can kind of get away with it with Lely and Kuhn because they have almost an identical colour scheme with the white and the red. There's just a very subtle difference between the two, but it does look a bit weird when you're mixing a bright green mower with a yellow and a red mower. It's just a horrible colour clash. It doesn't look particularly good, especially when you consider that, you know, you've got, you know, other mowers that are of the same brand that go together much better. So yeah, just never really tended to use this, but it is a really nice little mower. It does the job. As I say, it's just not quite as wide as some of the other stuff that we have available, but it's quite cheap as well. I mean, it's not that expensive as you saw in the menu system, and for this farm it's absolutely perfect. We don't need, you know, a huge mowing set. You know, I still really want to, you know, spend some time playing around with the Big M, but I mean, this is the least suitable map of all of them, I think, for a Big M mower. It would take you like 3 passes and the whole field would be done. You know, it's just way too big for a map this size. It just wouldn't fit with our theme either of small, you know, hands-on equipment, just to get a huge, great big, almost industrial sized mower, you know, like that. So I will have to, you know, wait to find somewhere a little bit more suitable for the Big M. I may lease one in for American Midwest, you know, for a little while. I have bought one from for Big Bud Farm. Haven't used it yet, but I have bought one for Big Bud Farm because I am planning on doing another silage run soon, and that is going to make that so much easier to be able to plant a field in grass and have a 30-hectare field, because field 1 is going to need a ploughing again, I think, pretty soon, to be able to just plant that field with grass and then just mow it with a Big M, collect all that grass and stick it in the BGA, get a huge amount of silage off that one field. I mean, 30 hectares of grass is going to be an awful lot, so that's kind of, you know, one of the things I got planned for when I get back onto Big Bud Farm around the New Year time. But yeah, I do really want to sort of play about with the Big M a lot. And we're almost done with this little patch here. I'm not sure whether or not to do the rest of this patch of grass. Might as well, I suppose. I don't want to overdo it though, because I don't want to end up with way too much material. I don't have a farm, chaffing silo on here, and there isn't really space to put one in as well. It's a pretty big placeable. It takes up quite a lot of space, and I don't really know whether or not I could fit one on here that would go with, whether it would work on this map. Just seems like a little bit too big an extravagance for our small farm, small equipment theme to have a big 500,000 litre placeable silo just plonked somewhere on the map. It just seems a little bit too extravagant. So let's get this little bit that I missed there, and I think that's probably enough grass just to get us started. So that's the mowing kind of done just for a moment. So we'll head back down to the farm. We'll go grab our Condé Master. I'm going to leave the mower attached for now because we may do a little bit more mowing. But I'm going to grab the Condé Master and we're going to tether that grass up. And then we'll collect it all up. I am considering getting rid of the small windrower and replacing it with something a little bit bigger. Because I do think that's a little bit too small, but I certainly won't be getting the merger on this farm. It's, again, it doesn't fit with the theme of a small, a small farm, a very rustic farm, to have a massively expensive, shiny, massively modern piece of equipment like the merger. It just doesn't feel right. It feels completely out of place for us using old equipment and small equipment to have something that big and shiny on a map like this. So here we are with the Condé Master. Now this unfortunately is not colour matched. It's a little bit too dark, a little bit too dull with the green. It's not quite right, but it's not far off. It's pretty close. So there we go. We've got a nice, good working width here. We can get 3 rows. And I do love the way that this field just drops away down that little dip like that, and then kind of rises back up again around here. I love the way that you do get these little changes in elevation, but you have staggering on the levels like that. So you've got the area up there for the sheep that's slightly raised and on a flattened sort of plateau compared to the sweeping rolling curve of the field itself. It's just, I think it's a really nice little touch to see that. And of course, we could easily, quite comfortably, I think, turn this into an actual crop field if we wanted to. Again, we've got that field down there. We could kind of just work against that little hill there and just create a large grain field, and I think that would look a little bit weird. It would also make harvesting it a real challenge. But with all these sort of grass meadows around that we have ownership of, that's just grass, it gives us a lot of options with what we could actually do going forward. I can actually get all 4 bits here. Move across a little bit more. There we go. Really quick when it comes to doing this tedding here. And you can't raise the Condé Master, so you kind of have to turn it off if you want to turn, or you'll start spreading everywhere again. It doesn't have a raise or lower effect like other tedders. This one, it's just, it plops open and it stays active. You can't raise it or lower it at all. It's permanently sort of down against the ground because of the way it's designed, but turning it off does stop you from kind of spreading stuff everywhere whenever you turn a corner. So we fold this. Oops, I just disconnected it. So if I fold this back up, you'll see it just still stays on the ground. The only thing that changes is the positioning of the wheels, really, as it kind of resettles itself. So what do we need next? We need to row it up. So I think that windrower that we've got is going to be a little bit small, really. It's going to take an eternity to do that. I mean, we could do it with a worker, but it's going to take an awful long time to row everything up like that. I'm thinking it would be better if we just got ourselves a different windrower. So let me back this tedder up. Nice and easy. There we go. Now, to get the mower back under the shelf, because it kicks up at the front, you do have to lower the mower like that, and then it'll slot in quite nicely underneath that bottom shelf. But if you don't lower it, then those folded up side sections will hit the top, the bottom of the shelf that's above. So that's something that if you are, curious about doing something like that yourself, you will need to be wary of, at least with this mower. Other mowers may vary, but with this particular mower, then you do need to sort of lower it down before you can slide it under there. So let's have a look at windrowers. See what options we've got. So we've got this Kuhn one here. It's 28 grand. We've also got the hay bob, which I've installed for messing around with something else on a test file. That's way too small, 1.2 meters. That I think could be a real issue. Although I've never really used the hay bob. I do think it would be kind of interesting just to see one of those in action. The Swadro is 9.3 meters in width. This one is also 9.3. I've used this one a little bit already on Deutz Fahrm, and I like the colour. It kind of matches our Deutz Fahrm colour scheme a little bit, but we have some Kuhn equipment, so it would make more sense to go with the Kuhn windrower along with our Kuhn baler. Plus this is cheaper as well. I don't know. You know what? I'm going to try this out. I'm just curious. I'm just going to lease one of these, just because I want to try it and see what it see how difficult this thing is going to be to work. So we're definitely going to get rid of the one that we've got. So I'm going to take that with me to the store. But let's see just how tough it's going to be working with the hay bob. Because if it's not too bad, then I kind of think I'd quite like to use it. Might have to work externally. I don't know whether or not it's something I'd be able to use in cab. But we'll certainly give it a go. So let's drop this one off. Again, I'm wary of expenses because that 59,000 that I have left now, or 67 now that we've got rid of that, that's my loan maxed to 300,000, and I don't want to use all of that money up. A, I might need some for emergencies, and B, it's just going to keep pushing my interest payments up and up and up. So it's going to make getting started very painful on this farm. but this is only a few $100s to, or a few €100 to lease, so we can actually have a little experiment with this and see how it works. I'm going to run along the top here. Where is it? It's this way, isn't it? Yeah. And this should bring us out near the junction for the sheep, pretty much alongside that field that we've just mowed. Yeah, there we go. So let's try out this hay bob, because size-wise, you know, the equipment itself looks the part. And you know what? This isn't too bad. I mean, it's small and it's effectively the same as what we've just got rid of in some respects, but I don't know. I'm undecided. I think it also looks like it's pulling off to the side slightly. I don't know if it's mounted properly or if it's supposed to do that, but it doesn't look... It looks wonky, and I don't know if that's deliberate or not. Can I... I'm going to pull up the help menu on this. Just wondering if there's any additional control. No, it doesn't look as though I'm affecting anything. I was just wondering whether or not I could actually change its angle or position slightly. It doesn't appear so. But this is one of the mods that we've had from Brian and CD Models. And say I've never used this hay bob before. I've always just looked at the 1.2 meter working width and gone, oh Christ, no. But this is the one farm out of all the farms that we have available to us. This is the one farm where this equipment would really make sense. You know, small farms, small fields, small equipment. So I felt, you know, almost obliged to at least try it out and see just whether or not it's going to be a viable choice. And you know what? It's not too bad. So I may stick with this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Should we stick with this, or should we actually go for a larger windrower like the one from Kuhn? Let me know what you guys think, and I'll let you make the decision. You know, if I get more votes for the hay bob than the Kuhn, then we'll stick with the hay bob and we'll actually buy one, because this one's just leased. But if you guys think that this is too small, even for a small farm, then we will get the Kuhn one for future use. But yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad, this. It means it's going to take us a long time to get stuff done. That's the only downside to having a piece of equipment this small, is the amount of time it will take us to actually do anything. Now, if I was editing, then it wouldn't necessarily be a problem. I could just whiz along like this. You could see some different shots of me whizzing along, and then, you know, within 30 seconds the whole field would be done. But this playlist, I'm kind of wanting to not do that. I've already had some really, you know, positive feedback about the non-editing in this series as well. So I would like to try and just keep this running, you know, as real-time recording. And some of these rows need very little work as well. It's kind of, I think this is a really useful tool for just kind of tidying up a row once you've tedded it. And there are different versions as well. There is, in fact, actually that, again, I mean, it's a shame because it's the Condy Master and it's a Deutz Fahrm Condy Master, but there is a tedding version of this as well. There's a couple of different tedding versions. So you've got the Vicon hay bob, you've got the PZ Zweigers one there, the 300, and then a used version of the PZ hay bob, and they would be kind of ideal to just go onto a row and ted it without it then getting spread all over the place. But yeah, there's so little Deutz equipment that we can actually use that I kind of want to stick with the Condy Master, even though it will mess our rows up. But there's no reason why we can't, yeah, then tidy them back up again with this hay bob, this windrower. Just still can't quite shake the feeling that it looks a bit wonky. I guess it's a deliberate design feature. But it does just, it kind of just looks a little bit weird. I don't know. It's got a nice sound effect though. You can kind of just hear it over the engine. Or maybe it's just me imagining, but I swear I can just kind of hear a little sort of noise, almost like the noise you hear when a sprinkler's going off. Yeah, it's almost like a little whisking noise. It's not as pronounced as obviously the much larger windrowers. You can hear those things turning. I don't know, maybe I'm hearing things. Maybe I'm imagining the sound. It's not taking too long, I suppose, to re-tidy these rows, and then we can get these baled up. Some of it we can bale. I think some of it we will collect and actually collect up with the Euroboss. We still haven't used that thing yet, and I'm still in two minds as to whether or not to actually keep the Euroboss. I might just sell it. I'm trying to think if there's any particular reason why we would need to keep it. Are we actually scooping up the row? We are. We're scooping up the row next to us as well. Wondering why I couldn't see that. There. I can hear that noise a little bit louder now that we're going down the hill. And now we go up the hill and the engine has to work a little bit harder on the tractor. You don't hear it quite so clearly, but I definitely heard it there that time as we were going down the hill. I wasn't imagining it. So yeah, we may well get rid of the Euroboss because I can't really think of it, unless, you know, we get to doing silage. I can't really think of a need for us to do to use it that much. I mean, you know, we can We can shred bales if we need partial bales for anything. You know, we've got our mixer. That can obviously shred bales for us as well. So we might not even need a bale shredder. You know, the mixer could probably just do that job for us. Plus, you know, we also have... it's just this road in the middle now, isn't it? Yeah, it's a little road just here. That's all that remains. I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Yeah, we don't need this to feed hay to our animals. We don't need this to feed straw to our animals, because we can use our mixer for that. So there's no need for that for the hay bob, for the Euroboss. The only thing it would come in useful for would be, you know, if we do silage, you know, we could gather up a load of grass and then use it to tip into a bunker. But again, I'm thinking maybe we could just bale stuff up and then shred the bales right next to a bunker. I haven't tried that as a tactic before, so maybe that might be worth exploring as well. Just dumping a load of bales next to a bunker and then shredding them one by one. The only thing is, with a grass bale, would we be able to shred a grass bale? That's where that kind of theory might fall down a bit. I don't know. We'll leave this just here for now. So we need the Euroboss. That's in here. Oh, I was going to get that straw as well, wasn't I? Let's go get that bit of straw on the opposite side of the road first of all. It's just over here on this corner. There it is. See, this tractor is now dirty enough to warrant being cleaned. When you can barely see out the window, you know it's ready. Just make our way up to the top. Come back around, and then this will give to whichever of our two animals is in more need of straw. Actually, no, we'll give this to the pigs, because I have seen people asking, where do you tip for the pigs? And it is that sort of hay chute that is on the side of the building for the pigs. So we can actually show you that in operation with this little bit of straw here. We've only got a couple of thousand litres, but that's kind of all we need, really. I do like watching the sort of indicators glowing like that on the mud flaps and the wheel arches. It's just a shame that if we can have that, we couldn't have reflective beacons, because that wouldn't work on consoles. Well, we already know from Real Farm that that just isn't the case, so I'm not sure why Giant said that it just wasn't possible on consoles, because that clearly is not the case. But this is where we drop off the straw. So if we pull up the animal menu, we can see straw. Actually, we probably don't need that much straw here for the pigs, but we'll try it. We're at 1682, so we should get a little bit in there. Just need to back up to the unload point. It's just there. You can see the little symbols popped up. And I think we added maybe a fraction of straw there, but not much, if anything at all. We're pretty much full on straw for our pigs. Let's drop this with the cows then, give them a nice top up. So again, the top up point for the cows is... I got a pig trying to escape there. Yeah, rumbled, he saw me coming, it's like, oh, nope, nothing doing here, I'm not trying to escape, honest. Hastily retreats back to the right side of the fence there. This is where we're going to drop our straw from. Wow, look at that huge line of mess already. We've literally only just cleaned them out. Ah, these cows. So there we go. We've got a nice little extra bit of straw for our cows there. I'm going to go grab some, while we have the Euroboss, I'm going to go grab some of the hay so that we can quickly feed them this way, and then we'll bale the rest up. And we'll stick that with our straw bales. Keep them away from the area where we had the incident that we shall never mention again. A bathing incident, you say? No idea what you're talking about, sorry. Alright, so let's scoop up this hay here. We'll do a couple of lines. I sound like I've got a really bad habit there. I'm just going to do a couple of lines and then we'll get back to business. Alright, that's one. That's two, and that should be enough. Any more than that, because we don't have that many cows, you see. We only have 15. So I don't want to fill this thing up and then have this huge clump of hay that I can't do anything with. Anything we do have left over, I'll just sell. And then I think I'll sell the Euroboss itself as well. So there we go. Back to the farm we go, along this bumpy little dirt track here. Ease off on the accelerator. This is quite a steep little hill, this. Do not want to go charging down here at full blast. Not with this nifty, sharp little corner. Just trying to be careful, and I still clipped it. You can imagine what would have been happening if I'd been going at full speed through there. Big shunk into the wall there. Was that it? Was that all they needed? No, they're not taking it there. So maybe then this is going to have to go around the corner. The other food trough. Either that, or we have a little bit of a problem with feeding our animals on this map, which I really hope is not the case. Can I actually get this around that corner? Yes. How's that for some blind reversing there? So let's try tipping into this food trough instead. Yeah, it will go in that one, so there we go. They've got a little bit of extra food now. So obviously we can't tip food at that point just there. It's a little bit of a shame, but it kind of makes sense, I suppose. Although it did let us tip the grass in there, so maybe it'll accept the grass there, but it won't accept anything else. I don't know. Right. Time to go and sell the hay bob. sorry, the Euroboss, and then that's going to be it for the end of this episode. So this will give us a little bit of extra cash. I need to put that money back in the bank so I don't, you know, incur even larger penalties at the end of the day for loan interest. In fact, actually no. Rather than selling this right now, I'd better wait. Oh, that's a bridge. Let's get over the bridge before we try and turn around. There we go. There's our little path that we can turn into. Ooh, that's clumsy. I better hang on to this just for now, because if my theory about shredding grass bales doesn't work, I'm then kind of in a situation where I need to buy one of these back, and I'd rather not waste the money on buying something that I've just sold and, you know, losing money on returning an item and then paying full price to get it back again. It's just, you know, a silly waste of money. So we'll park this back up in here, we'll clean our Deutz Fahrm, and then that'll be it. So go. That looks to be good. Let's just back this here. Yeah, I've got space to go back just a touch. There we go. Close the door. Spin around, and there we go. So, lights off, engine off. Break out the power washer, give our little aggro star a bit of a clean up, because it is pretty filthy. It always gets really, really dirty very, very quickly whenever you do mowing. I have noticed this. I think it's because you're on muddy fields rather than, you know, proper fields. There we go. So, there we go. It's the end of another episode of Deutz Fahrm. So, thanks for watching. I am Joe Bob, and I will catch you back with some more Deutz action very soon.